Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee. I need a refill. And Art in the Morning. So it's Wednesday morning. If you are watching this recording on YouTube, it's a live show on Ustream.tv with a live audience, a live chat, and mostly awake people. So, anyway, I got a few things to talk about. I have, as Terry Trouble called it, POP. A pile of projects. Thank you, Terry Trouble, for that. I love that. Pop. Pile o projects. So anyway, first off, I want to show my book. I worked on some yesterday while I was catching up on some streams, but I do have a pile of projects to do today, including I want to do a fan art portrait later on this afternoon. I'll do that, on my own time. I won't do it on stream time. Um, so anyway, if you're watching over on YouTube, it's a live show, and I'm chatting with live people. They ask questions. Sometimes they'll ask the same question. Someone else will come in and ask the same question again. So you will hear me repeat myself because I am answering questions from people coming into the chat. So this is the book that I worked on Monday in a two-parter, and it is two magazines cut in half and glued on top. So you can see there's four sections there. And part one, I showed how I set it up. Part two, talked about how to put the ideas and what ideas to put in it. Of course, you can make this for any ideas or just a plain old journal, plain old doodle journal if you want. But I'm calling it the mini magazine mind mapping idea collecting prompt playground. I think that pretty much covers any idea you might have to put in here. So I did, hey, coloring. Anybody else I missed coming in? Thanks for being here. So I did, and I'm going to work in this first off and tell you some of the things I'm working in. I did go through yesterday, and any place there was text, well, some ads I didn't cover up because I have, papers and things. I'm just going to cover up a lot of the big full page ads. But any place there was text, I went through and whited out the text through the whole book. So I had my heat gun and my white craft paint and just sat here for probably a couple hours. It took me probably about 2 hours to do the whole book while I was watching other people stream. Yes, Dragon. Or somebody coined it M to the fourth power instead of four M's. So I did go through and white out all the excess text. Again, I left some things, and some things they're not completely covered up either. It's just one coat of craft paint. If you truly want it gone, you can use other colors of paint. I showed like here. Okay, blended in some other colors with the thing here. I found this picture of Dali. I love Salvador Dali. Um, he's not really my inspiration, but maybe kind of. I do like his surrealism. If y'all seen my collage work, I love that kind of thing, that kind of otherworldly thing. So I put him in there. I'll probably put a picture of Mona Lisa in here because she's my muse. I put somewhere in here. I put one of my business cards here. I put one of my business cards, and on the back, I just washi taped it in here. So if if it's ever lost or anything, hopefully someone will have the sense to flip it over on the back. So there's my business card in there. And then I also did a little bit of the magicals. Here is where I use some of the magicals. These are the Lindy Stamp Gang little powders. And the thing that's different about these powders from other powders is once they are dissolved completely, they are waterproof. A lot of the others, there's a lot of other vibrant inks like the Dilutions. They would give you the same effect like this, but they're not waterproof. So if you go to do anything on top of it, it would move, which there's a place for that too. But anyway, so I did that. Now, right here you can see how the magicals are affected differently by what you put them on. So here you can see these two little squares underneath is where I had white craft painted out the text, and then I went over it with the magicals, and so it's kind of faded a lighter color on top of either like craft paint, white craft paint, gesso, whatever. This is the effect you're going to get on over the top of another paint. And then here's where it's just directly on top of the magazine. So it's really cool. So I'm going to, I think I have 15, 16 colors. So I have a whole bunch of colors here to play with. So I'm going to do that. The other thing is on the areas where I have painted out. I knew this, and I use my white and black Posca all the time. All over the place on everything. Hey, Carol Renee. But I thought, you know what? Why am I not thinking of using my Posca pens, the color ones, on top of, whoops, let's put that lid back on top of my acrylic paint, because Poscas will write over the top of acrylic paint. They'll write over anything because they are a paint pen. They are an acrylic paint pen. So it's unlike a Sharpie, like your regular Sharpie. Unlike a regular Sharpie, if you use your Sharpies, even though they're permanent, like paint, if you write over acrylic paint, they're going to dry out. If over the years of, hey Marilyn, over the years of using, trying to use Sharpies in your art journals over acrylic paint and mixed media, you know how quickly they dry out over acrylic paint. So let's go with the Poscas, baby. So that's what we're going to do. So maybe I'll just start with this page right here with some of the magicals or something. We'll see. Because I'm going to use both. I'm going to use the magicals, and I'm going to do some experimenting with my Poscas. Now remember, I'm going to use this book to put in all kinds of lists and ideas and just idea collecting prompts. It's just going to be a collection of ideas. This is not my sketchbook. This is not where I'm going to draw my ideas. I do that in different books, such as this one, my freestyle really big notebook. And I do have my full list over here of things to draw that you guys have given me to draw. So I might put these in this book as well, but this is not going to be where I draw them. You see, guys, here's where I've drawn some of them. Like, here's where we combined a fish in a cage with Poseidon. We randomly would select two items, so it just might come out to be like a chocolate lab and a cowboy, or a wolf and a surfer, or a seahorse and a wombat. So we mix and match to come up with different ideas to make your imagination work. So anyway, so that was a Poseidon. Here's some bees, and here's where we did some puffins, and a goat came up in a combination. So we drew a little goat and put some little puffins on his horns, some cats, just different things. Here's some a griffin and a manatee. And so I thought, well, how can we do that? So we sketched out a griffin, then I sketched out a manatee, and I tried to say, well, maybe we'll put a griffin tattoo on the manatee's tail. So that's the kind of thing. And if you are a writer, or you write ideas no matter what kind of format you are writing for, these kind of projects generate so many ideas. You will not run out of ideas if you have been following over the years, any of my idea collecting ideas. So yeah, of course, every now and then we come across my crowns that I drew, one for Eileen, one for Janet, and one for Paula. These are the enabler crowns. How you doing, Marilyn? It's good to see. I just saw you say something over on Twitter, and I said, oh, I wonder if Marilyn's gone to bed. So yeah, I gave them each an enabler crown. And so this, anyway, what I'm trying to say is this is where I will draw and sketch. Okay, not That's not the purpose of this book. This book is to have the ideas collected in it, as opposed to my, hang on, let me grab this Mama Jamba. See, this is the thing. This one is so huge. This is one of my 3-ring binders with my ideas in it. And they're all tabbed out, different ideas, and I collect my ideas, and this is a big, like, I think it's 3-inch, maybe 4-inch, I don't know. It's a huge binder. And I have tons of these binders of ideas. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to reach for something that's smaller, like the red book that I just showed you with the list in it, rather than this big one. But this is kind of like my encyclopedia. So if I ever want, like if I'm really needing some heavy duty ideas, I can come to my encyclopedia. But for the most part, I want to just be able to go to something like this. So that's where I'm going to write down my prompts, my ideas, my, some, what I can mind map, things like that. Tiny, just lists more than things. Hey, Lisa. So that's what I want to do in here. Now let me go ahead and tell you the other projects I'm going to work on, and I am going to try to put them on separate videos. And I don't know how many I'm going to get to today. I did start doing another Copic girl. This one's with Copics, purple hair girl. I just, again, printed it out of the lookbook on some nicer paper. And so I'm working on her. I'm working on a fan art portrait. I have 2 commissions. Well, actually I have 3. I'm not working on those today. And I also wanted to, well, let me back up. I went to Michael's and I had a, what did I do with it? I had some gouache paint, some old gouache paint. So when I was cleaning out my paints and things, I just squeezed these leftover gouache tubes out in a small palette. And there's limited colors, as you can see. That's all that I had left. The rest had dried out. And at the beginning of the year, Cam needed a set of gouache for school. So I bought him a set of gouache and one of these palettes. So what I did is at Michael's, I bought a set of, not Michael's, I'm sorry, Hobby Lobby. I'm sorry I said Michael's, it's Hobby Lobby. I go to both so often, but I got these at Hobby Lobby. So these are the fine touch gouache. It was a set of 24 for I think $15. I used maybe $15 to $20. I don't even remember. I threw let me see if I have the packaging in here. And used a 40% off coupon. So I'm trying to see how much they were. Don't even know where my receipt is at the moment. Anyway, so they weren't very much. It might have been $20, and I had a coupon, 40% off. So out of these little tubes here, I got a little palette set up. This is a little portable palette set up, and this is what I set up for Cam at the beginning of the year. But I also bought another palette for sitting on my desk, and it's all the same. I just have 2 different versions. This one's portable. This one can sit on my desk. But I got all this out of these tubes, and the tubes are still half full. So I got a blob here. I got a blob here, and I still have half tubes left. So that's a lot of paint. So I got that at Hobby Lobby and 2 new palettes. So this one, again, this is like my portable one. This one I can sit on my desk and play with. I don't know. My idea today is to, sometime today, is I want to work on this page in the Mysterious Library. Gouache is opaque. Watercolors are translucent. Gouache is like an opaque watercolor. Okay, it reconstitutes just like watercolor, but it's opaque. Okay, that's the difference, the main difference. I'm sure depending on the brand, there's many more subtleties to it, but that's the main thing. So I want to do this double page spread. at least get it all, as much as I can, done in gouache. And then, of course, you know me, I'm not, that doesn't stop me from going in with some pencils for, hey Marie, that doesn't stop me from going in with pencils after the fact. But that page is what I want to do with gouache. So I have that sitting over here waiting. The other thing that I have going on, let me put that right here, is I want to use my Holbees on some hedgies. So, yeah, this is the Color My Sketchbook Bennett Klein Wild, and Orla sent this to me. And I have not had a chance to work in it yet. So I would like to do these hedgies with my Holbees. So those are all the, gouache sounds like a vegetable. Hey, Prisma. So anyway, those are the projects. I have 2 color book things with different projects I want to do. But first I'm going to work in here. This is my main thing to do right now. You've been wanting to do that page, Valerie? Yeah. So I'm going to record different segments. So after I work in this, I'll stop and save this one. Then I'll go to another project. Oh, the other thing I got at Hobby. No, now did I get these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's? The Sargent. Okay, I got these at Hobby Lobby too. They're the Sargent brand, and I did save the. Here it is. The Sargent brand brush tip markers. Now, do not think for a minute for $5 that these are going to work anything like your Zig Kuretake water brush markers. They're not. Okay, these are, think of it more as felt tip markers. Even though they have like a pointy end, that's more like it's more like a marker than a brush. Where the Zig Kuretake watercolor brush, they're real brushes and real watercolor. These are more like a marker, but for $5, I thought these will work well in color books. So I got a set for $5. Again, they're just the Sargent brand, which is like the probably one of the most inexpensive brands there, and 20 colors for $4.99. So I got those. Okay, so let's set that aside for the moment. I think I'll save that packaging because someone's going to ask. Okay. So let's go ahead and start here. Hey, TNT. Again, I did recover my magazine, 4-section magazine journal. I did go through it yesterday while watching other streamers and white out all the text. Not every ad. I didn't white out every single ad, but I did white out the bulk of the text with at least one coat, and that will prepare it for if I want to add other colors or whatever I want to do. And that's what I did in my big magazine journals too. Let me put this here for just a minute. In my big magazine journals, you know, the ones I've shown y'all these before. They're the same principle, but they're just full-on magazines. This is 2 glued together. And then this is 2 cut up, and so that makes 4 sections glued together. There's a whole video on this, part 1 from Monday. Okay, so whether you choose to do a small one or just keep the magazines full size, I like both. I like both formats. So here's where I've used some magicals. And I did put some magicals in the spray, pump sprays. I put one in each of some old jars. So like here's my greens and yellows. So I had an old Dilutions bottle here. This was just an old, I had some paint in this one. So I just put a label and the name on each one of the 16 colors that I have. Here's the reds and pinks. So you can see purples, yellow, or orange. So I did that with all my colors, but I'm not going to use I'm not going to use those sprays today. I'm just going to use the powder itself. And everybody made fun of me when Janet called me out when I told her, oh, here's the gouache box. $13.99. That's how much it costs for the set. And then I had a 40% off coupon. So this is what it looks like. It's the Fine Touch brand at Hobby Lobby. So thanks, Coloring Rebecca. This is When Pigs Fly, the color. That's what it's called. Salon Perfect When Pigs Fly. That's the name of the color. So anyway, this set of 24 Fine Touch was $14, and I had a 40% off coupon. So let's move that out of the way. All right. So here is where I have put some magicals on a page. Again, here's where I've gone over the top of the whited out text, which I kind of like the way that looks, because that kind of gives you a box to work in and write in, and which I will be writing with Poscas. The Posca paint pens will write over the top of acrylic or anything, because they are acrylic paint in a pen. And there's different sizes, and these are, oh, this one haven't even shook down yet. They are, I'm not sure I think this is the fine tip one. There's extra fine tip ones that are in a smaller size. So there's different sizes, and I think there's even a bold. I don't know that I have any of those. So let's see here. Yeah. So here's the difference between a fine tip, which is kind of like this bullet tip here, and an extra fine. So you can see there's a difference there. So if you want to do a lot of writing, I went slowly, Mel, and it's not perfect, Mel. She asked how I got them without being crooked. They're not perfect, but carefully and slowly with a ruler and an X-Acto knife. I talk about that in part 1. So anyway, that's kind of a bullet tip and then a fine tip. So you can see there is a difference, but so these are the fine, not the extra fine. Okay, so I wanted to show you one that has it on here. Now I'm going to go over here to this page, and I'm going to put the magicals on here. And I think I might go with the cherry, or maybe the Queen of Hearts red and the chartreuse. I'm thinking, I could look at my little jars, but I'm thinking these are kind of close. It doesn't really matter. And I don't know if I want to use both or one, but this is how I did this other page, and I probably should put that post-it note in here, because I'm going to keep wanting to go back to it, and I'm not going to be able to find it here. So I can come back to it. Don't want it sticking out much because it's going to get wet. Okay, so I have a brush here that's kind of soft and a little bit fluffy. Any old brush, as long as it's kind of fluffy. You're welcome. All right, so what I did with that pink page is, I'm going to open my 2 magicals. Let me turn the fan. Let me turn the fan a little to the side. Okay, so this is a chartreuse and the Queen of Hearts red. Okay. And Janet was making fun of me because this is how I measure out. I'm going to show Janet because I don't think she saw me measure. When I wanted to measure out how much to put in those bottles, this is how I'd measure it with the end of a chopstick. So, like, see how much is on there? Well, you can't tilt it sideways. It'll fall off. But anyway, so there's 1 scoop. That's 2 scoops. So I would measure with the end of a chopstick. And Janet was making fun of me. But this is how I'm going to do this. Now, let me just kind of back it up for a minute, because I'm going to I got my spray ball. I really should. Let me see if I got a mini mister, because this is a kind of a Mama Jamba sprayer. Let's see. I don't know if I have any water in my mini mister. Let me put some water in. Let me see if this mini mister works. I'm not even sure if this old mini mister will work, because you want a more controlled spray. So I'm going to see if this will work. Let's see. There it goes. All right, so I'm just going to lightly spray this down. And I was using this with the pink one, and it does make a lot of water. So it's probably best to use some smaller water control, you know. All right, so now what I'm going to do, well, where'd that brush go? Oh, here it is. So now while this is damp, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my powders with my brush and just kind of dab a couple. It doesn't take much, guys. You could even kind of flick them if you want. So I'm going to start with this color. Okay, and I do need some water. Let me put a little bit of water in a tray here so I can kind of pick some up. Now I'm not going to pick it up with this brush. You don't want to get this brush wet if you're using it for flicking powder. So I have a separate brush over here, a separate brush that I'm going to move these around with. Okay, and I might need a little bit more mini misting, because I just want the water to stay on the book, not go flying everywhere. So all I'm doing is covering up all the white areas. Now remember, where I've whited out the, picking up some water, I just have some water here in the tray. Where I've whited out the text with white paint, it's going to have a different effect. So now I'm going to pick up my dry brush again and come over here in the red and pick up a little red powder and just touch it. I mean, that's all you're going to need. Okay, let me put the lid back on because I can see the fans kind of blowing some of this around. I got to be careful. I don't want this stuff everywhere. Trust me. It's so concentrated. All right, so now I'm going to just get my little mini mister again and just kind of move it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just kind of moving it around. So what I did with the pink one, I'm going right along the edges, and you could put a piece of wax paper or something behind this so you're not getting it on other pages. But to tell you the truth, I don't really care if it gets on other pages, because that's just more of the coolness of the messiness. Okay, so now while that's, you know, still activating, I'm going to take a baby wipe and play with moving it around some more, and just kind of keep it going here. And there's no, if you want this, you want a precise kind of thing, this is not for you. All right, it's not going to be precise. Okay, I didn't really want to cover up all that green because that was kind of cool. Oh well, it's too late now. But do you see where I put the white paint? Where I put the white paint, if you use gesso, wherever you put that, see how it's kind of it's not really resisting it, because it's green and red there. You may not be able to see it, but it's lighter and paler. So there you go. That's all there is to it, you know. Then I'll hit it with the heat gun. I'll dry it, and then it'll be ready for. Okay, I got some little powders here. Let me clean up. Hang on, guys. Gotta clean this up, because I'm going to be making a big mess. Look how look, just a little bit of powder sitting on the table. That's how concentrated it is. Let me get another baby wipe. So I want to clean my space up here. Very concentrated. And so the thing about the magicals is once it's dry, it's permanent. Once it's dissolved, you have to dissolve it. I know, isn't it cool? I love these colors too. And a craft scrubby will take this off your hands. I found, you know, I did find that out. But it is a staining ink. So if you don't have a craft scrubby, be prepared. You will have stained hands. All right, so I'm going to hit this with a heat gun. Now, I did close my little jars before I turn on my heat gun. I'll dry my desk as well because I wiped it up. And you don't have to go as fast as I was going through it. Okay, so now let's just see. Let me see if I want the red. So I'm going to take my red Posca. Now here's the thing about the Poscas, and even if you haven't decided what words you want on your page yet, look, here's some circles there. I might continue those circles. Maybe put some more circles and dots. See? It just writes right on top of it. Or over here on this, right here where I did the black, where there's some black already there, I'm going to take my black Posca and just continue those on. You see how fun this is? And I haven't even put any words on here yet. Here I could put my let's put pile of projects. Terry Trouble said that. All right, so there's also some green in there, so I think I'm going to take some green and I'm going to go right along the black. I'm just going to add some more color here. And so you can doodle, you can write, and again, I'm going to use it for collecting my ideas that I collect in my huge notebook, and I'll probably whittle it down to some essence of ideas that I want to do, or some combinations, like where I've got my list in the red book of all the things I want to draw and randomly combine them. I can put those in here, and then maybe I'll fill in some of the lettering over on this little quote that was already here. Something like this. Again, you know what? Well, I guess I could zoom in, but then I'm going to be doing this back and forth because I can't get the whole book in there. So, yeah. So you see how kind of fun that is? Maybe I'll get, let's come over here with maybe some orange and put some orange. It's just very, therapeutic to doodle. We all know all the doodling, and maybe I'll put some circles around these orange ones, or these red ones. Let's put maybe a couple of orange dots over here. Let's continue that one. Now, remember, this some areas like right here, this is part of the magazine is still there, so it's slick. So I can smear that right now until it dries on the slickness of the magazine, unless you've got it covered with something like on my big magazine, my altered book. In my altered books, let's see here. In my altered books, that are slick pages, right? They're slick. I'll put a coat of matte medium over them. Now, I'm not going to probably go to all that trouble here. And also the matte, I think the matte medium would change the magicals. It might just make it like this. It may be almost like a resist. And I don't really want it resisted everywhere. I kind of just want it resisted where I've purposefully put the white, paint covering up text. So that's really only the places I want it to resist. So if I put a matte medium over everything, I'm thinking that the magicals would totally be resisted. So I would just as soon just wait till this dries or hit it with a heat gun rather than try to matte medium at all. Because this is an idea book. I'm not making, to me this is a work of art. Because this is a full-on project that I want to complete. So here is where I would have had maybe matte, this would have been a slick page, and I would have matte mediumed over the whole thing to get rid of the slickness. But when you get rid of the slickness here, I'm thinking the magicals will just resist. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to dry this right here. So I think it's almost dry. It just takes a minute, but just be aware that when you're using paint on a slick surface, until it dries, you could, mess it up. Okay, so let's take the red and let's do pile of projects. That's what Terry. So I don't know, we can almost could do the pop lettering, because that just kind of if y'all ever did all this, if y'all are that old to have done these lettering in high schools. Pop. I'll do them little. And I know y'all probably can't see, but well, maybe you can. And this was Terry Trouble that gave us this, so I'll put 2 T's here. So you see how it writes over the top of everything? So now I think I'm going to go in here with some black. Or do I want white? No, I want black because it's just, yeah, it'll pop. So this is just, your little doodles and things that you can put in here. Now, of course, when I go to write lists, I'm just going to write things. But I just wanted to show y'all some little fun things to do. Okay, I'm going to add another layer of red around this. I want this thicker. You can see? Okay. And we would do drop shadows and all kinds of things when we would do this. Back in the day. This was before graffiti. I'm not going to say how long ago, but yeah. Pile of... I'm just giving you some ideas here, guys. I'm going to go around all these as well. Terry Trouble, that's what the TT stands for, if anybody doesn't know. I know, right, Eileen? I know, the Poscas go over anything. Because this is a combination here. We have a place where there's, like, right here on the magazine images, there's nothing. It's just the slick magazine. Then here, I mean, there may be a little bit of magicals rubbed on it. But then we have the area here where the magicals are over the top of acrylic paint, where I whited out the text. Then we have the magicals everywhere, and so just, the Poscas and the magicals. So, yeah. So now I'm going to go around the little piles. This would also be a fun book. Well, I would think it would be, but if you're if you're learning like lettering and stuff, it may be a little bit of a challenge because you'll be fighting the, other mediums. Well, not really fighting, but you'll have to be aware of them. But I'm thinking this would be a cool book to do all kinds of lettering in, like the Joanna Fink book. I think that's her name, right? Joanna Fink, is that her name? Where she has all kinds of lettering styles and things, projects. But, again, if you're learning it, I don't know, maybe it would be too distracting, maybe. All right, where's my white? Where's my white Posca? Just have my white. Here it is. All right, so now I'm going to take... No, do I want white or green? Maybe I want... Well, I'll go with white just because. Don't think it'll show up too much because it's already on white. But I'm just going to kind of go around the whole letter, or each little word. Yeah, that's not really showing up. It's kind of, because it's so light on the background. But anyway, I think you get the I think you get the idea. Just kind of things you can put on here. I like the bubble letters. It reminds me of doodling. That's what we're just talking about. Yeah. Doodling in your notebooks at school. With bubble letters. And we would do drop shadows, and we'd use markers mostly, but you know. Okay, so again, this is just a little bit of a example, right? Maybe that needs orange in it. Let's go with orange inside. There we go. That'll make it pop. No pun intended. Yes, pun intended. Let's go with the orange inside there. So just for a little example, we're going to do some more pages with the magicals, but I just wanted to kind of get you to see. Yeah, that's better. Get you to see that all the different things you can do in one of these little books. All right, let me hit this with the heat gun. So, and you could stamp, you know, let's see here. Do I have my letters? My big letters here. Let's do a big pop. Do I have big letters? Those aren't that big. Just looking for some stamps. There's an O and a P and a P. Okay, let's just grab. All right, let's see. Hang on, guys. Digging around here. Well, you know what? I'm just going to try these. Let's go with these little cheap, well, inexpensive Sargent brush markers. Let's see if we can do some pop with these. Now, I don't know how clean my stamps are. They could be very dirty. Let me get a... Let me clean off my stamp here a little. Sort of, kind of. So I'm just going to kind of marker in P. And again, let's do this one. Let's kind of clean it off. So I'm just going to brush this. O. P. Pop. Pile of projects. So you can do that. And then I'm just kind of giving y'all some different options to use in your, you know, use your stamps. Remember we stamped the questions out here at the beginning. Here. Always ask. This was the main thing for me. The main thing of this book is whatever you put in here, list, ideas, prompts, mind mapping, to ask who, what, where, when, and why, and how on everything you put in, and mind map it out. So what I mean by that is if you had like let's just pick a thing, like let's just pick journey. There's the word journey. So let's just say you had the word journey. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. So now this is where you would take, this is glued to this, by the way. This is where you would take your word and explore with it. Mind map it out, explore it. So now if you're taking a journey, when are you going to take it? And that goes out from there. How will you take that journey? Who are you going to take that journey? Where are you going on that journey? What would you take? What do you need? So that would be need. What would you need? What would you want to take? You see how you just kind of expand out the word and the idea? Love doing this because it makes you, and if you take your basic questions, who, what, where, why, when, and how, if you ask those basic questions with that every word, then you will, trust me, you will never, ever run out of ideas. Okay? And if you combine two words, let's just say you're going on a journey with a friend, and so now you're going to, you want to, expand that. But when we're doing for drawing purposes, it can be, for writing, drawing, anything. But let's just say you want to draw something. Remember how we were combining in the other book, like the manatee and the griffin? You see, if you took those two things and asked the questions, who, what, where, when, why, and how did a manatee get a tattoo of a griffin? Why a griffin? How would a manatee, who tattooed it? Was it born with a tattoo? You see what I'm saying? You'll come up with so many. Night, Marilyn. Night, Marilyn. Sleep well. You will come up with so many ideas. You will. Trust me. You will. Okay, so there we go. Just to kind of show you some of the supplies. Oh, I was going to go around this. So it didn't come out as red as I wanted, so I'm going to go back over it with the red there just a little bit. And then I'll go around, maybe we'll make it pop. With some orange. So you get the idea. I wanted to show you some of the supplies to use, right? The magicals, the Posca paint pens, your white acrylic paint just to block out text. I want pop to really pop here. So, any questions on this part so far, the supply part? Or are we good? I think I always over-explain. The manatee got drunk at a knife fight? Oh, one night. Thought you said had a knife fight. Muse. All right, so that's still wet. I can see it shiny, so let me dry that. Okay, so let's do another page. Let's do another page with some magicals. Let's pick a different color scheme. Let me move this out of the way here because I'm not really using that. Let's see. Here's kind of an olivey green. Let's see. I want something bright. Here we go. Let's go with this. All right, so this is kind of some bright pinks. I really need to look at my jars because this is not necessarily the exact true color, as if y'all know. Okay, I'm kind of liking this Caribbean or Caribbean blue. And let's go with hibiscus rose. Let's just go with 2 for now, okay? You can add 3 or more, but I'm only working with this much space, so I'm only going to need one little touch of the color. Okay, so I'm going to go with that color and this color. I should have misted. Well, I'm going to pull this back and mist with my little mini mister so I don't spray it into my little jars over there. Okay, so I just kind of got it a little bit wet. And the reason I spray it and get it a little wet first is so that the powders don't go everywhere. Now I'm going to take my dry brush. I'm going to pick up a little of the Caribbean. I'm just touch the end of the brush. That's all you need. Trust me, that's all you need. Okay, clean off that brush. Put the lid back on this one. Just get a touch of the, that's even way too much. A touch of the hibiscus rose. I'm going to clean off my brush over there. Now I'm going to take, now everything's closed up, so I'm not worried about using the mister. Okay, mist it down. Now I'm going to go with my other brush that I'm getting wet, and I'm going to start playing with this. Look how vibrant that is. Can y'all see? So I'm just kind of moving it around. Clean my brush. Now I'm going to pick up some of the, I got way too much powder. I'm telling you, one touch of the powder would have been plenty. One touch. I got 3 touches, and look, 3 touches of that powder. Now I'm going to get a baby wipe. And while it's still wet and the baby wipe is, damp, now I'm going to judiciously move stuff around. In other words, I'm just going to play with where I want it to go. And just kind of move it around, maybe some of the edges. And you can be as careful as you want about where you put it, but I want it real messy. I want it to be very painterly and messy. So you can see here and here where I had whited out the block, the block text, how it's lighter, which is good because that's where you want to write. I know, and well, I wasn't being real careful on my blending. I could have blended better. I'll do a better blend on the next one. All right, so let me dry this. There's a little bit of powder right there. So again, you want to make sure you get all the powder dissolved, and might be a little bit there too, because if you don't dissolve it, it's not waterproof. So you want to make sure, and you can see the little tiny flakes of powder that you may not have dissolved. Look how much I just got with just a couple little flakes. Hey Linda, I know, me too, Eileen. Okay. And you're not starting with a blank page. It's like I showed you in the big magazine journals. That's one of the things about using a magazine journal is, let me get this other one. The thing about using a magazine journal is the colors are already there for you. You've already got colors on the magazine to work with. Now in this, of course, did not have magicals. This is all acrylic paint. So you can do all the same type of thing we're doing here. If you don't have magicals, you can do it with acrylic paint. You water it down and blend it with the baby white. That's what all this is. And the thing is if you go with the colors in the page, then you've got something to start and something to work with. Thanks, Prisma. You have something to work with. Like this is a piece of jewelry under there. It's a necklace. This whole double page spread was based off of these big chips of glass on a necklace. Okay, so and again, this book here, these were done some years ago. Here's one that's kind of started. But take the images that are there and use that as your color inspiration. Whether you use acrylic paint, whether you're using the magicals, whether it's a big magazine journal or a small magazine journal, So, anyway. Hey, Cece, Clarissa. All right, so there we go. And it's very vibrant. That's probably truer to color right there because the light is coming through the window there. So, yeah. All right, so let's pick another page. And again, you can do your writing and journaling or list making, however you want to use the journal for yourself. Okay, this is kind of cool. This is a pink. Now I did not, see there was a little quote here that the person left. I just did not cover that up. But here's the text, so I covered that up. So let's see here. I'm going to go with the pink, which is the hibiscus rose. Now let me look at what, I think it's this mint green. I think this is it. Mad Hatter mint green. So we're going to go with Mad Hatter mint green and hibiscus rose. Oh. Okay, so and again, this will come off with the craft scrubby, but otherwise, you're gonna have to work at getting it off with you're gonna have to work at getting it off with some fingernail polish remover or whatever. Okay, so now let's go with the mini mister and just get it wet before I even open up the jars this time. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of get it sprayed down a little. All right, now let me move it up here. I'm trying to separate the water from, I don't want to get water in here. Again, now I'm only going to take one little brush full. Okay, so I have my dry brush here. This is the dry one. Then I have a separate one that's wet for moving things around. So I'm going to pick up just one scoop full there and just kind of dab that around. Oh no, I accidentally put that in water. Okay, let me get a different brush because I don't want to dip a wet brush in there. I went to clean my brush off and put it in the water. Okay, so I got another fluffy brush here. All right, now I'm going to pick up the hibiscus and put a little here, a little there. I mean, that's going to be way much. I'm telling you guys, one tiny touch of a brush is all you need. All right, so now I'm going to try to be a little bit more blend better. All right, so now I'm going to go back with my mini mister. Find the hole there so I don't squirt myself in the face. All right, so now let's see what I can do here. Oh, that's my wrong brush again. Dang. All right, so let's go in here with the... Okay, my mint green is picking up so much of the red, so it's not very minty. It's not very minty. All right, so let's just start with this color. I think I'll go back in with some more the mint. I touched the mint to the green, so I lost the mint. All right, so let's see. And I'm going to go around the edges up here. Okay, so now, before it sets, I'm going to take my baby wipe here and start blending it in a little better. All the white, get rid of all the white. I know it's probably hard to see that I'm getting rid of the white. And the more you play with it, the more expertise you'll have at it. Because I want some more mint green. So let me go back with the mint. I don't have a dry brush now. Hang on, is that one wet? No, let me get another brush. Because I keep putting the brush in. I keep putting the dry brush in the water. Okay, so let's put I need some mist. Hang on. Okay. Dry brush. Okay, that's enough. All right. Again, see, I just use the same brush. Silly me. I'm going to run out of dry... No, I'll never run out of dry brushes. So I'm just trying to get that minty color in there. You know? And it's kind of mixing with the mint and turning it into a teal. So that minty green and that magenta color are kind of going teal on me, which that's fine. All right, so let's kind of blend that out. I don't know. See, I kind of like all the scruffiness of it. All right, let's dry it. If you have any questions while I'm drying, ask. Yeah, and the thing about the magicals is they're waterproof after they're dissolved. I mean, I love me my dilution sprays. Don't get me wrong. If you got those, use those. But just be aware that they're not waterproof. We'll spray one with dilutions. Okay, see, I can still feel a little bit of powder there. It's probably a good idea to take my baby wipe and make sure that, see now, so there's powder on here. So look, I'm moving the powder that's in here around. So that's kind of cool too. All right, let's dry again now. Yeah, if y'all are asking about this book, there are 2 parts, 1 and 2, on how I made it. I showed on Monday. Okay, I see one little speck of powder there. I want to get that. Okay, and then also, this is where I whited out. I whited out the text there. So it's kind of like gessoing it. So the magicals work different on top of your acrylic paint whited out areas than they do where they're just soaking right into the magazine here. See? Yeah, exactly. I love the dilutionals too, but they move. Okay, so now let's see here. We got some pink and teal. I think I'm gonna go with, I think I'll go with red because I have some red in here. So let's just go around this big and bold. So I'm gonna go right over the big. And it may not show. I might have to go in there with, it's showing up enough. So I'm gonna go in here with big. I'm just going right over the words that were already there. Big and I'm making them a little bigger. Okay. Now here's where you have fun with the Poscas. Okay. You can go in here and start doodling. Let's put a little row of hearts right here. The whiting out. Yeah, I just use plain acrylic paint, not a wash, Terry. I just use white acrylic paint to white out the text. And really, if you really want to get rid of it completely, it would probably take 2 coats. I didn't care if it showed the text showed through a little. It's not enough that you can even read it, but it just gives it another layer under there. So I just kind of like that look. But if you don't want any text showing through, like, let me go here. See how you can still see a ghost of the text? You can put another layer over that if you want and get rid of it completely. And you could spend hours just on 2 pages, guys. Just using the little, what's left of the imagery from the magazines. And you can use any magazine that, like I use it, tell y'all about, like, if you're a gardener or you like plants or anything like that, get a gardening magazine. If you're more to do fashions, cut you up some fashion. Other products that are permanent when dry besides magicals. In powder, I don't know. I don't know enough about all the powders to tell you that. Eileen or Terry or somebody else might be able to tell you. Probably Eileen. She'd probably be the one to ask on what if there are any other powders. Okay, so then maybe over here, let's do a row of hearts going down the side here. And again, the Poscas are an acrylic paint pen, so they go right over everything. Just make sure whatever you're going over is dry. Don't try to go over wet paint with the Posca and. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Eileen would know. I don't know of other powders or sprays that are permanent. If I see somebody answer, I'll repeat it here. And so you can barely see the word compassionate coming through right there in red. Does the story in the text show? Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm liking about using. And y'all seen me do it in the giant magazine, in the full size, I should say, not giant, in the full size magazine journals. All this is cut in half, and then pile them up, not together. Like I have 2 different magazines here. I had magazine 1 and magazine 2. So I put a section of magazine 1, magazine 2, magazine 1, magazine 2. You see? And you're not going to look how much you're covering everything up, it's so and then eventually you will have a nice chunky book. Oh, but I see in the spine, just I always want to remind people to go front to back. Don't try to do it sequentially and start at page 1 and go all the way through page, the end of the book. Because if you do that, your spine will do this. See how that spine, that's almost, perpendicular right there. The spine is so curved off because in this magazine I went straight through and it just started bending and bending the spine, and there's no way to get that to unbend. Okay, so in the next one I did, I went I did some in the front, some in the back, some in the middle, front, back, middle, front, back, middle. And even though it's still kind of janky, it's not as bad as the other one. And again, these are years old with lots of abuse. So this is the same thing, except now I'm just showing you using magicals in it instead of just acrylic paint. The glue I used, and I have a whole part on this, guys. I just used my Eileen's Tacky. Now, when I did this on Monday, I glued it all together on Monday, and I always, I'm sitting there doing this the whole time because I knew it wasn't dry, right? And if you don't let it dry, you're going to start pulling this apart. I recovered it again. I had a tan cover on it. I recovered it again just because I like this paper better and has a little bit of texture to it. But you really don't want to work in it until you've set it overnight with a bunch of books on it, and really let that set. I was trying to work in it on Monday before it was dry. So I did have a couple pages right at the bind start to come out. So I had to tape a couple pages back in. And I knew that was going to happen because I don't want to say I was impatient. I was just wanting to show you everything on Monday without waiting till today to even start in it. But you really want to, and I mean, there's a ton, the glue was seeping out. That's how much glue you want to put in it. And really mash that spine together well. And this is what's holding it together, the paper, guys. Don't just try to glue those 4 sections together and expect it to hold. You've got to wrap it with your, one of your stronger scrapbook papers or a heavier paper, because this paper wrap is what's holding that spine together. On one, let's see, this one I use duct tape. This one I use duct tape and glue. This one I use packing tape and then overlaid the packing tape with a pretty washi tape just to hide the packing tape, but you can see the shine there. But whatever you decide to wrap it with, whether it's duct tape or a pretty paper, I would recommend setting this book overnight, heavy books on top, and let it really set up before you start working in it, because otherwise some of your pages might fall out. I don't care. I just tape them back in. I'm trying to find where one came out so I could show you. Because I don't remember where it was. But I just taped it back in. We'll probably come across it at some point. Oh, I want to do that page. That one's pretty. Let's go back to this. Could you use? Yeah, I've used duct tape. That was my first time I did the magazine journals. I used duct tape. Let's see, like this, just duct tape. It's teal. It's a pretty duct tape, but it's just duct tape. But there's a lot of glue in there too. But again, the reason this spine warped is because you add wet mediums, and if you go front to back, it's going to start warping your spine, right? That's why I recommend front, back, front, back. But yeah, this is just duct tape, but there's glue under there. Lot of glue. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this page. All right, let's try the Mango Mania and probably the Caribbean. No, let's see, how bright was that Caribbean again? I don't remember. Was it pretty bright? Because I really want a more muted color. See, I should be putting Post-it notes in here as I do them, because now I can't find them again. Can't find the pages we work on because it's a chunky book, people. All right. Let's just go with just the mango, and then we can go back and add some stuff on top of it. Let's try one color at a time. All right. So I'm going to wet it down. Whoops, spraying myself in the face. Just going to spray it down with a mini mister. This is what I've been using, but yeah, this mini mister is more. I got to find another dry brush. Because I keep sticking them in the water. I keep sticking my brushes in the water out of habit, Okay, so this is the mango, so I'm going to just go dun, dun, and dun. That's going to be plenty. Okay, now I'll take, oh, see, I just stuck it back in the water. Oh, gee. So now I take my mini mister and activate it up nice. And take a wet brush and let's go ahead and see, I have some water right here too. I just have some water here that I can dip into. And let's just move this around. So this is just the mango with probably something else on my brush right there. Okay, I could use just a tiny bit more. I'm going to go ahead and open it back up, get another dry. I got like 10 wet brushes over here. Okay, there's another dry brush. And I want to kind of get this wet over here. And then just add a little bit more powder. Maybe just another dab there. I mean, it's so minuscule, guys. You don't think there's much in there in those little jars. There is a lot. It goes, see, there we go. And you can also mix this up in a palette. Mix your little magicals up in a palette and pick it up like watercolor. I just like the whole idea of sprinkling some on, spraying it, moving it around, getting a baby wipe, you know. I'm just a rebel that way. You know, it's just fun to kind of let's just see what happens rather than try to, you know, plan it all out. So there we go. So there's the mango. But you see where I whited out the title page? Yeah, it is magicals, Carla. They're magicals. So what you can see where I whited out the title page with the acrylic paint yesterday. All right, so let's dry this, and then we'll see how we can play. Maybe with the mint green pasta and the lighter orange. Let's see those two. Hey, Sudan. Yeah, sprinkle and spray is almost as good as smack and drag. Yes, I know. Sprinkle and spray. Okay, I got to write that down. Let me write that down under my pile of projects, Eileen. Sprinkle and spray. ETEE. That's Eileen, the Enabler Elf. Those, see, those kind of things go in our wingnut book. We have a book of wingnuts. Okay, I think that's dry. All right, so let's see if I like this color. There's like a little bow thing here. Let's make that bow bigger. So again, this is where you get to play with whatever happens to be. Let's make a big ribbon on the bow. This is where you get to play with whatever's on the page already. It's a little damp there. See, I should dry that better. You always want everything dry before you start painting on top of wet. Okay, then I think I'll have maybe a ribbon coming right across over here. And you can use regular old paint. Just, you know, we've done all that too. We just paint in it with acrylic paint. The next page I'm going to do is I'll do a dilutions. I'll do a dilutions spray. But remember, those are not permanent, so You know, I'll be the first one next time I go into this book and start doing something on that page thinking it's magicals. It'll be moving on me. Okay, let's see. I think I'll have that ribbon come right along there. So I just had this ribbon come all the way around the page. Kind of, can you see that? Let's go this way with it. Okay. All right, now let me color in this side. Thanks everybody for being here. I know I've missed saying good morning to some of you. I'm kind of getting on a roll here. If you have any questions, put them in caps. Again, this project is, I did two parts on Monday. So there's about 4 hours worth of stuff talking about this book on Monday. Oh, see, look, I just smeared it. I put my hand right through that. That's all right. Let's just make it wider. All right, let me hit it with the heat gun so I'm not dragging my hand through it. Yes, I know. It's kind of like mango, tangerine color, and mint. So let's see what happens if I can control what we use on the magical. So let me get a palette. Like, do I have any palettes around here? Empty palettes or something? Okay, here we go. This is just, I think you'll be able to see it on. This is dried acrylic paint here. But what I want to do is just put a little dab of it here and just make a tiny bit of, you know, let me see. I gotta get another dry brush. Oh my gosh. Look how many wet brushes I have over here, guys. Seriously. All these are wet. But we'll just go with my measuring tool. Hey, Pepper Kitty. I'm gonna go with my measuring tool, which is my chopstick. And we're gonna pull out just a little, that's all. One little bit there. Okay, now let me get my little mini mister and a brush. Let's see, what brush do I want? Let's just go, that one's too scruffy. Here we go, just want a regular brush. All right, now I'm going to take my mini mister and get that little bit, see all that little bit of powder right there? I'm going to get that wet and try to contain it right in here. Okay, so now I'm going to get my wet brush here and mix that up well. It's really not that mint. It's more, it's got a tinge of mint to it, but it's a little bit more on the, I don't know what color. So what I wanted to do though is kind of do maybe a little bit of border here. Let's go down here. It's kind of like going around the edge. So it's really, especially over the top of the tangerine color or the mango color, it's more an olivey green than it is mint. Let's see what happens if, I wonder if I can go over this ribbon and make it more mint, this same color. Let's add a little bit of shadow to it. So I'm just going to add a shadow to my mint green ribbon there, using up what's left in this little pile I made. There we go. It's a little flashed out there, guys. Yes, one chopstick full. All right, let me dry this. A great idea, God. Exactly, Libby. Libby said to use it. Her daughter just got married, and to do something with bride magazines. I know. You can make a unique photo album. Now, let's put it this, let me say this, Libby. It is messy. You know, a lot of times when you think of bridal gifts and showers, and it's um, very neat, very perfect. This book is not going to be perfect. Just saying. So, as long as she's good with the art type of things, then yeah, this is going to be awesome. That's an awesome idea for a wedding gift. If they're the kind of person that would like this kind of mess. You know, so again, it all this is um, two magazines, two different. I think it's one's an art journaling one, Somerset art journaling, and the other one's Somerset blogging. And I looked at, I think that was from 2007. It was time to let it go. If it was from 2007, it was time to cut it up and let it go. Hey, Pat. So as you can see here, guys, I whited out all the text. I spent about 2 hours going through the whole book and whiting out. I would white out, heat dry. My heat gun got a workout yesterday. So I would white it out, heat dry, white it out, heat dry. Let's do this page right here. I'm inspired. Let's do purple and urban amethyst and Tweedledee denim. We're going to go with those colors. Actually, you could even use a little bit of that mango too. All right, maybe. Let's see. Okay. Let's go with another dry brush. Oh, I don't have one here. Just go and grab brushes. I should just bring a whole jar over here. Every time I use one, I want to just tap it off, but I stick it in the water accidentally. Yeah, I know. So it just depends on the person, you know. And again, you also probably want to put some wax paper, parchment, or something behind the pages, because I don't care if it gets like, you know, spills over and stuff, but, you know, you just be aware we're making a mess. Okay, so I'm going to take my mister and just go ahead and pre-wet the book here. Oh, I'm almost out of water out of there. Yep, got to get some water. Hang on. And then after this page, we'll do one with dilutions, and we'll do one with acrylic paint, and then we're going to move on to another project. All right, so I'm going to just wet this down. Now let's come over here. Let's move this up here. I'm going to go with all three colors. Let's just start first with just a dab of I'm just going to put a tiny bit there of the Mango Mania. Now I'm not going to use this brush. Let me get a brush that's wet. And let's move a little bit of that mango around. What I'm trying to do is bring this color over here. See, that's all I'm trying to do over here. Let's just put a little of that color there. Just kind of ties the two pages together. All right, now we're done with the mango. Let's go with the Urban Amethyst. It's a unique mess, for sure, Libby. Now dry brush again. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of the amethyst there. A little bit of the amethyst there, and my brush did get wet, so I'll just go ahead and use that brush. All right, so let me put the lid back on that. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put some amethyst down. See how I'm trying to tie in the elements that are already here? A little bit over here. Let's add a little bit right there. All right. A little bit more water. Let me pick it up here. Kind of move that. See how it's going over the edge? If you don't put paper, you got to be aware that that's going to happen. And I don't care, but you might. All right, now I'm going to take a little bit of the blue. Get another dry brush. All right, now I'm going to take the indigo blue, and that's way too much. Let's put some of that over here, because I'm telling you, this is going to go a long way. Let's pick some of that up there. I mean, it's such minuscule amounts, guys. And if you want, while it's wet like that, then that's the time to kind of take your baby wipe if you want to kind of blend it like that. Okay, now let's come over here with a little bit of water. A little bit over here. Maybe a little more there and a little bit here. And I still have powders down here at the bottom, so let's go ahead and get that in there. Isn't that cool? Well, it's going to depend on your paper, Prisma. She's asking how much time you have to work with it. It's soaking in pretty quickly on the non acrylic where I have no acrylic paint. It's sinking in pretty quick. So, how much time do you have? I think it's going to depend on your paper. Okay. There we go. Let me dry this. The Jean lead is Happy Dye there? Did Happy Dye make it to Jean's? Yeah, it just depends on your paper. Because some places it's sinking in faster. Because remember, I've actually got 3 kinds of thing going on here. I have the slick magazine paper. I have the areas where I have white acrylic paint underneath, or kind of like a gesso, although I just use white acrylic paint. And then I have the places on the magazine that don't have, just the water and the paint, where it's not slick, like the photographs are slick. Yeah, so it just depends on the paper. And it does buckle just a little, but not bad. I mean, here, see? I have my thumb in there so I don't lose my place. But it's starting to fluff up, and because I have white acrylic paint on pretty much every page in the book. Yesterday I just went through, and any place there was text I wanted to white out, I just whited it out. Here's the page we just did a minute ago. I want to splatter on this one. I really want to splatter. Well, we'll get back to it. We can get back to it anyway, because I can go back and add more later, right? It's not like the page has to be finished. Happy Dye made it. Okay, yay. Is she gonna want to stream, Eileen? Did Jean mention streaming while Happy Dye was there today? Okay, so there we go. So you can see that. And excuse me, let me get a sip of coffee. I'm getting the hiccups. I don't know why. Now I could take, here's a purple and a couple shades of blue. Let's see what that looks like. Let's just see which blues I like. I actually like all of them. Purple, dark blue, light blue. And then you could go in here and, play with it. Now, again, it's not quite dry. You really want it to be dry 100% before you start playing with your Poscas. See. Okay, thanks, Eileen. It's not streaming with her. Okay. So, yeah. A little ribbon on the hat. Maybe we'll go in there with the light blue. Put the little ribbon on the hat. So, anyway, now let's dry that. Yeah, I have a video. I have a two-part video on how I made this, and it's just really a small version of the magazine journals that I've done for years, just cut in half. Okay, now let's try. Let's move all my pastas over here. And let's try with hang on, guys, gotta make a space. This is a lid to, oh, this is a lid to my mini mister. Yeah. Let's try the dilutions, which is going to make more of a mess. All right, so let me kind of clean up. I got a little bit of the powders here on my desk. I just want to kind of clean this up. See, look. Just want to clean this up so I'm not sticking my hand all in it. Again, this will come off with a craft scrubby, but it is staining. It's in the sense, just like dilutions are very staining. It will stain your fingers. So if you don't like that, either have a craft scrubby ready or wear some, craft gloves or something. Okay, so now let's pick a page first, and then I'll go up and get me a couple colors to play with. Just kind of flipping through. There's brown and purple, but brown and blue. That might be pretty. Let's see what happens. Now, again, see how this has all been whited out? So whatever I use, whether it's the magicals or probably the dilutions, is going to do the same thing. It's going to be like resist there. So it's going to be a different color and different effect where there's no paint as to where there is paint. So you're going to get different, lightness and darknesses. Okay, so now let me, I'm going to put some stuff down here. Hang on. Because I got a spray now. All right, here's a couple things to put in between. All right, let's go. So I'm not getting it all over my desk, guys. I mean, I don't care, but, then I got to clean. All right, so I said brown and blue. All right, so I'm going to get my brown and my blue dilutions. Okay, so this one is melted chocolate and London blue. And I'm using those colors based on this right here. That, I don't know if you can tell, but that's blue there. Blue like little swirls there. All right, so let's kind of see what happens. I think I want to mini mist it just to get it prepped, a little bit of wetness to it, so that the other stuff will move, right? I just want to have it to move. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna do one spray each. There's one of brown. Well, maybe I'll do two of blue. Here's blue and blue. All right, so now I'm going to take my baby wipe and I'm going to move it around the baby wipe. Now see where it's I might have to put a little bit more brown. Let's see. You can see where I've got paint and where I don't have paint. Let's put a little bit more over here. Let me pick up a little bit and move it over here. Okay, I'm going to go back with another squirt of brown because it's soaked in. I almost kind of like that because it kind of has a tree effect. See if I can kind of deliberately make it splattery. Well, nope. Let's just pick that up and move it. I was trying to make it splotchy, but kind of had a tree effect there. Now, what I could do, though, I could take my color here and let's just put some in there. And let's take a brush, get some in there. So now I can take that and splatter. We're gonna splatter. So yeah. Okay, let's dry that, and then I might do some more splatters right there. Hey, Julie Topaz. Happy hump day. Mike. All right, so now now that it's dry, I'm gonna get back in here and splatter some more because now it won't diffuse. It'll just, because it's dry. Some of the some of the splots diffused. Oh, good grief! It diffused. It diffused because it was wet. Oh my gosh! All right, so now let's dry that. Oh, sorry, Mel G. Okay, so now the page already had these little black kind of drawn flowers on it. So now let's do some of those, just because we're taking the inspiration from the page, right? So there's some little flowers there, so let's just go ahead and so there we go. And it's a little tricky in the ditch, Hey, Miss Allie. So that's the kind of things you can do with your Poscas, your sprays, your magicals. Now let's do one with just acrylic paint. Well, I think we did one with just acrylic paint. Let's see. Let's find another one. Okay, let's go with this one. All right, this one I did glue an extra teacup on here. This was not on this page. I had cut it out of another thing, and I just glued it on here. So now let's go ahead and get, let's see, let's get this kind of a teal. Let's get a bright pink. Maybe this. And white. Let's just go with those. And we're going to just get a baby wipe and go with these three colors. So you can do it with anything. Hi, Patty. So let's see if I have a dry thing here. All right, so I'm going to squirt out. See, I wish I would remember to close these well. So I'm going to clean those off. So I'll just put it just a drop because this is a small, small area. Okay. Just a touch of pink. This white's not open yet. It's open. No, that one's not open either. Do I have it? Where's the white? Here we go. A little bit of white. And even if you just paint with the baby wipe. So let's do that. So I'm going to start with some of the teal color. Those fit, I guess, stales or Dot, I don't know which ones you mean. Sorry. Faber-Castell pens? Crayons? So I'm now just picking up with the baby wipe. And it's also fun to do scraping with your palette knife. Maybe we'll do some of that too. Here, let's get some of this on here first. Again, if you don't put something behind it, be prepared for it to get on another page, which to me that just gives the next page more texture, more oomph, or more whatever. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put in some pink. So whatever you have, use what you have. Use a bunch of different things if you want, you know. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take my palette knife. And then we're going to stop on this project and start another one. I remember it's pile of projects today. I know. And the colors are, this is peony pink, white, and Bahama blue. And Americana. Now I'm going to just pick up some white on my palette knife and just kind of try to lightly, you know, scrape. And if you get some places that I don't like where the way that looks where I scrape that, you know, while it's still wet. Now, cause you know, remember, we don't have any matte medium to help us remove paint here. Okay, you're going to have to do it while it's wet. Take your baby wipe and start, you know, blending and smoothing while it's wet. If we had this covered with matte medium like I do in my collage, then you're more apt to be able to remove things, remove paint. But, you know, so we can't do that here once it's dry. But, I mean, it just kind of has that cool little texture to it. Now, when I dry this, I can take my Posca. And this is good when you have extra paint to find some place to use it. You know, like I'll just flip back here to a random where there's maybe no color or little color. And, you know, like here. I don't have anything on this page. So I'm just going to pick up all that excess paint and put it down so I'm not wasting it. So I'm just kind of scraping it up with my finger here. A little bit of white. But make sure you dry this before you close your book, because you'll glue these pages together. Trust me. Remember what I just did over the weekend with doing my driveway art. I tried to do a driveway art. It was so windy, and I did film it. Didn't film well. And then I put a brick on it to let it sit out there and dry, and the weight of the brick stuck all my pages together. And acrylic paint, when you put it on thick like this, it does take another minute to dry. And if you're not sure if it's dry, then just take a piece of parchment or a piece of wax paper and put it in there until you make sure. All right, so now let's go back over here. Let me get my white Posca. And we'll just do a little bit of doodling with the white Posca. Bye, Janet. Anybody else coming and going? Thanks, everybody, for being here. I mean, I'm just doing whatever. I mean, you play with it however you want to play with yours. See? You can do little designs, little wallpaper design back here. So if you have some pages already painted, then you can just take a couple of Poscas with you, and if you're going to go watch TV or something, I always say that because you always going to have something in your hand while you're watching TV. A color book, a marker, a paint pen. And then you can just doodle, sketch, draw something while you're, you know. And also, I think I find that when you're watching TV and you're concentrating on another show, and then you have a pen or pencil or something and you're doodling and you're not thinking so hard about this. So you might do some cool stuff because you're not overthinking and you go, oh, look, I didn't even think about that. It's because your mind wasn't analyzing and putting down what you're doing. It's just doing. And those kind of things that can come to you when your mind is like not really concentrating on getting something perfect, you'll come up with all kinds of ideas. And that's the thing about a book like this, or even the bigger one, or sketchbook, or any kind of thing that you doodle, draw, or whatever in, is you have to have some place, and that's why I call this a playground. The full title is Mini Magazine Mind Mapping Idea Collecting Prompt Playground, because you won't over analyze and judge yourself when you're just trying to, come up with some, just do this. I was just trying to make some kind of cute little wallpaper there. And then when you have a book like this, like I said, I'm going to have lists, prompts, mind mapping, all that stuff. And you can make one for a designated list book. You could have one a designated prompt book with all the techniques, like the prompts in my prompt jar I showed on Monday. You can have mind mapping, although you don't have a lot of space in a small book like this. So I would suggest if you're going to actually mind map in the book, to do the larger magazine journal so you have room to expand, or just do that in a sketchbook. See, this is not my sketchbook. This is just my idea generating, and then I'll take the ideas and do something with the ideas rather than try to work them out in here. This is just for the play. The ideas, the lists, the note taking. That's what this book is. And the Poscas just work awesome over acrylic paint. Yeah, I know you don't like pink, Eileen, but yeah, thanks. You like the page. I didn't put a flamingo on it. That's that's a good thing, right? Okay. Now I could take like the blue one if I wanted to. I don't think I want to. I want it kind of plain. But I could take the blue one and put some more designs on there. But I just want to leave it like this. Let me hit it with the heat gun though, because that is paint. You want it to dry. You're thanking me for not putting a flamingo on it, Eileen. Okay, so is there anything else y'all want me to do in this book before we stop this recording and I go grab some coffee? Let's see if I can flip through to some of the pages that we've got done. Okay, so again, I just use this as a little place to put my business card. I put it in with just a piece of washi tape, so, you know, all my information's on the back there. I just glued in some other pages. I put in a picture of Dolly. This one we did just paint scraping on that one. So let's see if I can flip. And you can just take a look. We did this one on Tuesday. I'll just do a quick little flip here. Again, just cut you up some magazines, white out the text, and you don't have to cut it down like this. Here's where we put paint on this one. There's the one we just did. Hey, Sarah O. But I did spend a couple hours yesterday, and it took me a couple hours with my white paint and heat gun to white out all the areas, all the text that I didn't want. But that's not the final, you know, that's just getting rid of the text. Like if I wanted it yellow here, I'd paint it yellow, or use the magicals, or some, you know, sprays or whatever. But this kind of book is, especially a thick one like this, it's like it's going to be a continuous work in progress. If you look at this as a thing you have to finish, oh, I got to get that done. I've got to finish that book. Don't do that. You're going to stress yourself out and you're not going to enjoy it. That's kind of like why my magazine journals have some pages done, some not. My altered books, they're going to be an ongoing project. So what I say about picking a magazine to cut up or use and or an altered book to work in like this, you got to pick something you're going to like. Like my altered books are abandoned places and that sort of thing. If you don't like abandoned places and it creeps you out, don't buy the abandoned book to alter. Buy you a gardening, buy you a fashion book, or anything. I mean, it could be a math book. I mean, it's whatever you like. You have to have an altered book or altered magazines that you are going to enjoy playing in, because otherwise not only is it not going to be fun, it's going to be stressful, and you don't want it to be stressful. You want it to be fun. Okay, here's one we did. This one was with the magicals. Well, I think I did this one before today, just to have one sample done for you. But again, now I can go in here and, I could do some, I've done hearts. It's got some little hands on there. You can even put your own hand on there. But it's always got, it's got very lettery things. Like, let's just put, I'm using the same kind of lettering that's on that page. Hey, Dragon Slayer. Anybody else popping in? Then, gotta let it dry. So I just took the inspiration of these letters that were here. So there's that. Let's keep flipping. What else did we do in here? Did this one. Did this one with the magicals. and some Posca doodles. And my idea is what I want to do with it is as I get a little further along with some backgrounds done, then I'll go in and add my lists and prompts and ideas and all that. Right now I'm just kind of concentrating on, you know, showing y'all some different ways to put some stuff in here. Here we did the pile of projects. And that's magicals, and then just continuing out some of the designs that were already on the page with the Poscas. Where's a pink one here? Is that some pink? You're welcome, Corinne. Now let me dry that, because if I don't, I'll glue my pages together. Because this is paint, guys, and the Poscas. I mean, we could put some blue eyeshadow on her. Let's put some blue eyeshadow on her. Let's put her little pupils back in here. Maybe let's put some nice big red glasses on her. How about that? Not exactly cat eyes, kind of square cat eyes. Hey, Vicky. You're missing all the fun, girl. Okay, so you get the idea. All right, let's just keep moving here. So I hope y'all kind of enjoyed just some ideas for your magazine journal. Again, whether it's a large one, one of the big ones, or something small. There's the word dream here. Let's see if the light blue will show up on here. We'll do white, and we'll do blue and white. The word's already here, so I'm just kind of using it. All right, now let me dry it. I'm going to take the white Posca. Thanks, Lisa. Me and Jean. So whatever magazine you have, like I said, if you have a gardening magazine, because you like gardening, you're going to have tons of flowers and plants and bushes and little arbors and gazebos and stuff like that to play with. Yeah, it can be anything. And you could make, thanks Clarissa, and you can make a different one for different things. This idea book is for these ideas, a different one for, you know, you can have different ones for different projects. And then, this is where we did the magicals over the top of whited out text. And you can write here, Posca pen. I don't recommend Sharpies because they go dry if you try to go over paints and things with them. At the very least, you could use a Bic, the Crystal Bic, Bic ballpoint pen. It'll go over anything. Okay, so let me keep flipping here. We're almost done with the flip. Here we did, this is where we use the dilution sprays. Again, these are not waterproof. The magicals will be waterproof. Okay, but I just want to show you, use what you have. And then there was this little flower already there, so just, use that for an inspiration. It's just your little doodle book, your little idea journal, your little, keep your prompts or whatever you want in it. Draw some lines for some lists, making connections. This would be a good page for opposites, or things that don't seem to go together, like our manatee and our griffin. So it's not a book that you're going to finish, in a day. Oh, here's a page we did here, big and bold. Let's go with the white again. And maybe just a few of these. I don't want to spend more time on this, but just to show you. So yeah, fun, fun, fun. In the mini magazine mind mapping idea collecting prompt playground. Oh, wait, let me dry that. So anyway, guys, and again, I did recover it with another paper. I wanted it a little bit more thicker. The paper that I was using, I was almost like ripping through. And I know part of it was because I didn't let it dry when I covered it yesterday. And again, if you do this, make sure that it's best if you don't play in it right away. You go ahead and do make the book like I showed on part 1. We'll call this part 3. And then, mash it down well and put some heavy books on it overnight. I immediately went into playing with it, and a couple of my pages did come loose. So, because the spine wasn't completely set. You really want that mashed down, and you really want this glued as much pressure and as much as you can. Because this paper right here is what's holding this whole spine together. So yeah, there's my, and I'll probably stamp out or something, mini magazine mind mapping idea collecting prompt playground. Thanks, guys. All right, so hang loose, and I'll be right back. And hopefully y'all enjoyed a little bit further exploration using magicals, Poscas, acrylic paint, sprays, and baby wipes. All right, guys, we'll be right back.